Hello everybody and welcome to episode 3 of TubeMix's album reviews ReCut, and today we're going to be looking at the 1973 album Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack, of course named after the album opener and one of her biggest hits, Killing Me Softly, with this song. Actually originally a cover because it was originally recorded by Laurie Lieberman, who did write the song actually, but she wasn't credited, so instead it was Charles Fox and Norman Gimbel who were credited as the songwriters. Anyway, it's a great album by one of my favourite artists, someone who I think is an absolute soul legend, just got such a relaxing voice. No duets on this album, even though she is known, of course, for her duets with Peabo Bryson, Donny Hathaway, George Benson, Maxi Priest, are just some of the people that she's worked with. And even the late Luther Vandross, who isn't on this album, before having a solo career, his big break was as a backing singer. One of his big breaks, was a backing singer for Roberta Flack, and if that wasn't enough, it was her that said to Luther, you know, you have a great voice, why don't you start sending some demos to the record companies, and because I think you could go really far as a solo artist. And he did that, and well, the rest is history. He went on to have a fantastic solo career and so many hits, and became a really great soul and disco and R&B singer, of course, himself. Anyway, let's jump to it, and well, there's only one thing to do, is run the titles. So track 1 is Killing Me Softly with this song, and I've just listened to it, and it's just such a beautiful song. If you stress or need relaxing, it really is the perfect song. The arrangement is so wonderful, and Roberta Flack's vocals, you know, doesn't shout or scream like any of these divas like Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. Anyone who knows me personally, I can't stand that, and will never understand why they do that. Anyway, Ralph McDonald is on the track. If you don't know who he is, he wrote Just the Two of Us with William Salter, hit for Bill Withers and Grover Washington Jr. And this version of the song, big hit for Roberta Flack, got to number 6 in the UK singles chart. Just such a really beautiful ballad. And it's very similar actually to The Closer I Get to You, which of course is a song that she would record with one of her brilliant duet partners, the late great Donny Hathaway. And yes, it's just a really fantastic track, and her vocals are just so relaxing. They're not breathy like say Kylie Minogue or Blossom Dearie or Alison Goldfrapp, to name a few. No, it's or Marilyn Monroe. No, it's a bit hard to explain really, but it's definitely soft, and yeah, definitely no shouting at all. And Roberta Flack is not really one to really do that at all, really. So yeah, really great track, one that I would definitely without hesitation come back to listening to again and again, because it's just, it's not a big dramatic arrangement. Less is more, and this is a case of it. There's a a few, you know, instruments on it. But yeah, it doesn't need much, and it's just a really great song. Okay, right, let's move on to track 2 called Jessie next. Okay, so track 2, as I said, is called Jessie, and it was written by Janice Ian. Well, that's how it's spelled, so I don't know if you pronounce it like that. Who recorded it a year later on her 1974 album Stars. Now, it is a sad song, one that I think I wouldn't blame you if it's hard to listen to, but it is a beautiful song. Yeah, and in fact, that's what I was thinking. Even at the beginning, it did sound like a song for a funeral. I know that's a morbid thought, but yeah, just with the violin. But nevertheless, as I said, it really is a beautiful arrangement and a really beautiful song, and Roberta Flack sings it so beautifully. It's again another relaxing song. Although, as one of the critics said, Robert Crisplow, he said it makes you wonder that she's going to fall asleep, because there is a lot of slow songs on this album. There's not many sort of funk or disco. For example, like a track Back Together Again with Donny Hathaway. That's very upbeat and disco soul track. So there's not many of those on this album, but it still is a good album. And would I listen to Jessie again? No, I don't think so. Not because it's sad, but I just think there's stronger tracks on the album that I would come back and listen to, I think. I mean, Killing Me Softly with this song, for me, it's very hard to beat that. Not just because it's so well known, but just because that song is just so beautiful. The lyrics are so beautiful, and her performance on that is just, and double tracking, so making it sound like there's multiple Roberta Flacks, and the reverb actually on that track, actually is used to really good proportions. So it's a really, really great track. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be revisiting this one, but still, it is a really beautiful track, beautifully sang, beautifully written, and beautifully arranged. Right, let's move on to track 3 next. Right, track 3 is called No Tears in the End, and you would think that this would be a ballad by the title. No, it's a really funky track, actually. There's some really great guitar work. A few songs it reminded me of, actually. Neil Sedaka's Laughed in the Rain, Stevie Wonder's Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours, and the other one, and probably the most prominent one that was in my head, was Al Green's Let's Stay Together. And the track was written by Ralph MacDonald and William Salter, who write a couple of tracks for this album, and Ralph MacDonald, of course, was on Killing Me Softly with his song. And it's just really, really great track. One I would instantly revisit. Really one that I feel could have been a chart hit, actually. Because it's so good, so funky, and it is nice to, ballads are nice, but it is good to have a really track with full of soul and funk and R&B in it. It's really fantastic, and it's just a really, really great track. Yeah, as I said, if you like the Reverend Al Green, who is brilliant, of course, if you like Let's Stay Together, then this track is very reminiscent of that. Yep, so one I will definitely be revisiting, no doubt. And yep, one of the best tracks alongside Killing Me Softly with this song for me on the album. Right, let's move on. The next track is called I'm the Girl, and it was written by James Shelton, who also wrote Lilac Wine, a big hit for Elkie Brooks, of course, and recorded by Jeff Buckley and Nina Simone and various other people, of course. But back to this track. It's good. I always thought, listening to the track, that it's like it's come straight out of the Great American Songbook. You know, that era with Cole Porter and George Gershwin and Irving Berlin and all those great songwriters. Well, it turns out I was kind of right. 1955 at first was recorded and released, and it's just such a great classic jazz ballad. And Roberta Flack, I think people do forget that as well as soul and R&B, which of course she is known for, she has dabbled in the world of jazz. And this is just, I almost got, my eyes were watering because, well, just so moved by the performance and the arrangement. It's just so brilliant. Really is absolutely just a masterpiece in my eyes. Just a really great, a fantastic, put your teeth back in, Will, a fantastic track, really great to listen to, and one that I would absolutely listen to again. Hang on, let me think. Would I listen to it again? Because I thought I would. I mean, I do like jazz. Would I? If I wanted jazz ballads, I think maybe. But it doesn't beat Killing Me Softly with this song and No Tears in the End. I think those are the two that are really gold standard for me. But it's still a really lovely track. It really is. Right, let's move on. The next track is called River, and it's was written by Eugene McDaniels, and who is behind one of Roberta's biggest hits. In fact, released the year after, called Feel Like Making Love, not to be confused with the Bad Company song, which was also later hit for George Benson in 1983 on his album In Your Eyes. Anyway, back to this song. It's not a cover of Joni Mitchell's River. No. Completely different song. Completely different feel, and just, absolutely different in every way. And yes, it's a sort of a soul, funky ballad, I suppose, R&B, and it's great that the backing vocals are good and the guitar work is good, and yeah, it's a really great sounding track, and I think I would actually revisit this. It's a really good track, and one that I think could actually stay stuck in your head as well, which is a sign of how memorable the track is as well, which is always a good sign, because ideally a good song is one that you don't forget and one that you'll be having it stuck in your head for a long time. And it ticks those boxes for me. It's a really great song, and one I'll definitely revisit. Right, let's move on to the next track. Okay, so the next track is called Conversation Love, and it's written by Terry Plumeri. Put your teeth back in, Will. Terry Plumeri and Bill Simon. And it reminds me quite a bit of just the two of us. I mean, it's before that song was ever released, but it does definitely have a feel of that to me. And a tiny bit of the Look of Love, not ABC's one, but Dusty Springfield's one, which she recorded for the soundtrack of the Bond spoof Casino Royale, as opposed to the Daniel Craig one, with Herb Alpert and his Tijuana Brass on there as well. But anyway, back to this song. So yeah, it reminds me, as I said, of Just the Two of Us, and you know, it wouldn't have surprised me if the track was written by William Salter and Ralph McDonald, because they did write Just the Two of Us. And yeah, it's got the brass is great, and the flute as well. And it's just a really great relaxing track. It'd be perfect if you were sipping a cocktail on a beach, or on a sun lounger. You know, it really is that type of track, and it's like so many of the tracks on this album, so relaxing. And of course, Roberta's voice is so relaxing, so she suits them to an absolute T. And yeah, it's a really, really fantastic track, and one I think I'll be coming back to. It's sort of R&B, sort of soul ballad, basically. So it's not too slow like Jessie, say, which is quite dreary, to be honest. No, this is a really good sort of, in a way, lively ballad. Which obviously, when you think of ballads, because they're slow, you know, you don't think of them being lively, but compared to Jessie, it certainly is. And it's a really great track, and I think I'll be revisiting it. Right, time to move on. Okay, the next track is called When You Smile, and it's sort of the jazz version of Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. So I think if you were to play it at a party or a festival, if you're doing a DJ set on the decks, I think this would go down a storm. And with, you know, there's a lot of la la la's in it as well. It's really memorable, and I think it makes you feel good, I think. It's like a cross between Sweet Caroline, several, sort of Randy Newman, actually. Yeah, it reminds me of him. And sort of Broadway-esque, actually, in terms of the whole rhythm. Particularly the theme from New York, New York. Now, if you don't know what that is, well, Frank Sinatra basically recorded 2 songs about New York. One was, I think it's just called New York, New York, but, you know, put your teeth back in, Will. New York, New York is a hell of a town, from the film On the Town. And then there's the one, if you can make it anywhere, it's up to you, New York, New York. And that's the theme from New York, New York. So if I'm the agony aunt of Frank Sinatra, possibly, I might have solved your dilemma. Anyway, back to this track, and yes, it's really feel good. I first heard it, actually. Dame Shirley Bassey's version was played on Claire Teal's BBC Radio 2 jazz show. And I heard, I hadn't heard the song before, and I heard Shirley Bassey's version, and it was very over the top, as you'd expect, you know, very dramatic for Shirley Bassey, as only she could do, really. And so I thought, I bet this is from a musical. So I looked up the song, and it said originally recorded by Roberta Flack, and I thought, goodness me, I can't really imagine Roberta Flack doing this. So, I better check out her version. And I did, and I loved it. They're different. Shirley Bassey's is very fast tempo and more Broadway style, as you'd expect. Roberta Flack's is more slower, but it's a really good feel-good song and instantly memorable. You will not get it out of your head. You really won't. It's really good. It's a really good song. It's written by Ralph McDonald and William Salter. So yeah, several tracks, as I said. You can't get away from them on the album, and yeah, it's a really good track, and one that, like I said, you know, at a wedding or a party, I really do recommend you add this one on. Yes, it's obscure, but hey, you'll be educating people on obviously it's old music on a new song, and expanding their education, and getting a really good sing-along one, which I think it's up there with Sweet Caroline and Theme from New York. So it's up to you, as the song says. Right, let's move on. And so the final track is a really interesting one. It's a cover of Leonard Cohen's Suzanne, which he originally wrote and recorded. And to be fair, it's not too hard for anyone to give life into, because Leonard Cohen, in my opinion, is the version of a musical version of an anaesthetic and a cure for insomnia. So if you can't sleep, just put Leonard Cohen or Nick Cave on, and then you'll just sleep easy. Anyway, back to this song. And yes, it's a really interesting arrangement, actually. The strings, they almost sounds like an ambulance towards the end of the song. It's a really interesting arrangement and really interesting take on it, and on paper it's a strange song to cover because Leonard Cohen is very distinctive, even though obviously Jeff Buckley and Alexandra Burke have covered Hallelujah, and Rufus Wainwright as well. Yeah, it's a very interesting one, but it's brilliant. It really is great, and Roberta Flack's voice, and she arranged it as well. So yeah, not only sung but arranged by her as well. So a very, very talented musician, obviously, and yeah, great. Would I revisit it? I'm not sure. I think the two tracks for me, No Tears in the End and Killing Me Softly with His Song, although this arrangement of Suzanne it's quite similar to Killing Me Softly with His Song, but no, for me, Killing Me Softly with His Song and No Tears in the End, they are really, they are gems. Oh, and When You Smile as well. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked what you've seen, feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe to the TubeMix's YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time when I will be going to the Wombles album, Super Wombling. So I hope you join me for that. Until the next time, guys, cheers and see you next time. Bye-bye.